My name is Jeremy Devins of Quietmind Yoga, and I'm here today again with Joy Scola.
Hello!
And we're continuing this little series we're doing of breaking down some of the most common poses. And today, Chaturanga, something you'll do a bajillion times in classes, but a lot of people do it in ways that can injure themselves. I've actually hurt my shoulder doing Chaturanga before. You've probably had some.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of things that can go wrong with this pose, but a lot of times you go to classes, just Chaturanga. That's all you get.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So there's a lot of room for error here, and we want to address what some of those common mistakes can be. Let's start by just looking at what is Chaturanga. Just go into standard Chaturanga, and now I'm going to make her hold this for about 10 minutes.
Oh, like...
I'm just kidding.
Like, wait, no. Do you want me to go halfway down, or...?
Yeah, so just hold Chaturanga for a moment, like the standard right there. So that's the pose, that's what we're aiming towards. And of course, Joy's been practicing for a long time, so you can come down and rest now. So ideally, we have the elbows alongside the body, the whole body's in this sort of line of energy. Now, without spending too much time here, let's look at some of the things that can go wrong, some of the common mistakes.
Okay. So you want me to like...
There you go. Yeah, so, okay.
And then again, no hand, the finger thing really just...
Yep. Right, that's it.
Yeah.
And lifting the chin too much. Oh, okay. No, come out of there. Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Oh my gosh.
So, what did you notice?
Pain everywhere.
Yeah.
Strain.
Right. So one of the first things that you saw is her shoulders were moving forward rather than staying in line with her elbows. She didn't have this 90-degree angle anymore in her arms. Shoulders were coming forward. So what might be causing that? What muscle is going to help you push into the floor? It's this pectoral muscle in the chest, which for a lot of people is actually kind of weak. Because if you take on the sitting posture that a lot of us are in throughout the day, the chest muscles are actually shortening when you do that. So they're not getting strengthened. We don't need to use them to work on a computer or device. So they get weaker. And then we go to yoga class and suddenly we've got to hold our whole body weight up with those muscles. It's not going to work out so well. So that's where that shoulder kind of falls forward. So first thing we want to be aware of is shoulder strength, and that's this sort of pushing action from the chest that we want to use in Chaturanga. Next thing is the hands, so the fingers are kind of together. So again,
no power.
No power. Just like in down dog, the hands are like her feet in the pose. She's got her hands and just the tips of her toes basically on the floor. So the hands, you want as much surface area as you can work with there. So the base knuckles, the heel, and the slight lifting of the center of the hand gives her a nice sort of suction and power to push into the floor. And when her elbows are at 90 degrees, that's using the triceps, the chest, all like a push-up kind of action. So a really solid position. But if the elbows go out wider, that is kind of like in the down dog. Yeah, you try to push from that angle, not so safe. Right? A lot of stress on the shoulders and not using the chest and triceps, which are the pushing muscles. So we want to use those. We want to keep the hands, fingers spread, root into the base knuckles. And what else did you do in there?
The crunch. The butt's way up or way down. That's usually either it's way up or way down.
Yeah, right. So our hips went up in one, or it could be way down. Yeah, so we just want neutral alignment, so a long line from the heels to the shoulders, not arching the back, not tucking the pelvis. Right, so that comes down to the pelvic tilt. So the anatomy of that is the pelvis can tilt in that. And that's called the posterior tilt right there, and that's the anterior tilt. And the way to remember that is posterior tilt, you activate your posterior, your butt. Anterior tilt, you arch your back. So anterior arch, posterior activates. Right, so we don't want too much of that tilting either way, it's more neutral. And something, you can think you're sort of pushing into your hands and lifting your tail, it's kind of like becomes a down dog. Not what we're going for, but there is a version of this that we'll see that kind of looks like that, which is where I think some people can get confused. So let's go back into the Chaturanga and then sort of apply this anatomy to the pose from the mistakes.
Oh wait, I was like, first we get there.
Okay.
Get weird.
All right. So you don't need to lift your chin in this pose, and then press into your hands, engaging your chest, lower your tail all at the same time. There's a lot of going on here. Yeah, there we go. So get that 90 degree. Yeah, get that 90-degree angle with the arms as best you can. All right, and that's enough work. It's kind of draining.
And to go from that poor position to then like try and build up.
Yeah, that's very tough. So extra points today. You win at yoga today. Yeah, and then the hands. So all that stuff, right? It all happens just like in a breath, in just half a breath, really, just an exhale in a class. So you got to be keen to all of that. So what you can do to build up to it is use one of our best props that we have, the yoga blocks. And you could use either one or two of these and basically have that under your chest in the Chaturanga position. And that can help you kind of hold it. So see if you need one or two. Right, so it takes the work out of the shoulders, we can get the sort of shape of the pose. And just feel what that's like in your body. Building mind-muscle connection is very important. Right, so you can come out of there. So that's one way to build up to it, sort of progression into it. And then another option, if you're feeling like it's just not working for you, you could do a sort of inchworm version, which is where you lift the tail a little bit and you let the chest go down a little bit first. So let's see what that looks like. Right, so it's similar to the shape we're going for in Chaturanga, but it's okay if the knees are down, the tail lifts, and the chest goes down. So what makes that work better is because the knees are down for one, and she's still keeping that general shape of Chaturanga, so there is still some work in the chest, right?
Mm-hmm. I'd say very active and pressing.
Yeah, so still actively pressing, and that makes it a lot more stable and safe, and not just doing this sort of rolling of the shoulders, lifting of the shoulders, or again, the elevation or depression. We don't want either of those too much here. If anything, there's a little bit of a retraction and depression in the shoulders when we're coming down, and that is how we do Chaturanga safely. And then progressions from there that we could go into a little more advanced. The most common one you'll see is lifting one leg going into Chaturanga, and this is usually through a vinyasa flow, which we'll cover in the next video, but just like that. That's all it is. And she went to up dog, which is usually the next pose you'll do after Chaturanga, and what we'll cover in the next video. So thank you, Joy, for helping out.
Thank you.
And you can check her out on YouTube, search her in the links below, and we'll continue in this next video in the series talking about how to put it all together in probably the most common thing you'll do in a flow class is the vinyasa of Chaturanga, up dog, down dog.
Yeah.